Welcome, President Andrew Petter. We are going to now have a few speeches in celebration of the 30th anniversary of the Gerontology Research Center. Following our speeches, is that better? Following the speeches we have, we're going to have a reception with some refreshments and networking. So I'm going to call upon Andrew Petter. President Petter is going to say a few words to begin, and then we're going to have some speeches.
Well, thank you, Andrew, and a very few words. First of all, I want to say how pleased I am to be here. I came in a little earlier, and you were deep engrossed in panel discussion, so obviously it's been a productive and very positive day that you've had. So let me start just by welcoming those of you who are not from Simon Fraser to Harbour Centre. This is part of Simon Fraser University's growing Vancouver campus, vibrant and growing Vancouver campus. I'm delighted to be here to celebrate what I understand is the 30th anniversary of SFU's Gerontology Research Center, which has been a mainstay of this university then for 3 decades and a huge contributor. I hope that those of you who have been here have enjoyed your time. It seemed to me you were as I came in a little earlier and realized that you were still deep into it. This campus, this Harbour Centre, is a converted department store, and it was the first of Simon Fraser University's sort of main presences in the downtown core, and has now become very much the core of a growing downtown campus that includes across the street, the WASC Center for Dialogue, just up and over the Seagull Graduate School of Business, just down the street, our relatively new Goldcorp Center for the Arts with our School for Contemporary Arts, and the most recent sort of addition to the campus is the Bill Reid Gallery, where the gallery is actually managed by the Bill Reid Foundation, but the collection is now held by Simon Fraser University. So we are very much a 3-campus university now. Some people still think of us as that place up on the hill. We still are, but we're also out in Surrey, and we're very much in downtown Vancouver, and we're very proud of that fact. And if you came in the front, you will have seen the quote from the Vancouver Sun that SFU is the intellectual heart of Vancouver by virtue of this campus. And of course, gerontology has very much been part of that contribution. We also recently, I wanted to mention, embraced the new strategic vision for the university. And that strategic vision is about being an engaged university, a university that really takes its research and takes its students out of the classroom, out of the laboratory, and gives them the opportunity, our researchers and our students, to engage with the community, both in learning and in contributing. And what we've fastened onto as our vision statement is to be an engaged university characterized by the dynamic integration of innovative education, cutting-edge research, and far-reaching community engagement. So our researchers don't limit their aha moments to the lab or the library. From healthcare to homelessness, from sustainability to global security, SFU researchers are known for mobilizing their discoveries and innovations to benefit the social, economic, environmental, and cultural well-being of communities near and far. Now, I mention all of this because, of course, SFU's Gerontology Research Center has been very much a core of this university and is very much in line with that mission, it seems to me. This center has helped to improve the physical and mental well-being of an aging population and to assist those who care for them. The interaction amongst academics, NGOs, and community groups that's taking place at this event today is another fine example of engaged research, engaging with community, a university that wants to learn from the community and also give back to the community. That mutual relationship is, I think, what makes this center and this university a very special place to study, to research, and to be engaged with. So I want to congratulate you for the work you've done today. I really want to congratulate the Gerontology Research Center on having reached midlife with no apparent crisis. I wish I could say that of all of us. But you've obviously aged extremely well. You are walking the walk as you talk the talk. and I have every confidence that you are going to remain healthy, productive, and engaged in the years to come. So with that, and with, again, thanking you for being here and for participating, it's my great pleasure to introduce, or perhaps reintroduce, the founding director of the Gerontology Research Center and of the Department of Gerontology, that dynamic person we all know so well, Gloria Gutman. Gloria.
Okay. One of the interesting things about being the person that founded this particular unit, the Gerontology Research Center and the Department of Gerontology, is to have been able to work with a number of interesting people and to know that there's that continuity, that the center would continue to exist and to have different leadership. Because if you build something, if it's any good, it should be able to survive beyond the initial director. So it's been a really fun time over these last 30 years, but we do have a clip from the current director who, if his body was here with us, would be the one that would be talking next. So I'd like you to just hear a couple of words from the third director of the center.
Greetings to all my colleagues and friends of the GRC. I'm very sorry that I'm unable to be with you in person for the 21st annual John K. Friesen Conference, and especially for the celebration of the GRC's 30th anniversary. John K. Friesen contributed vision and leadership wherever he lived and worked. He established the John K. Friesen Conference in Gerontology to provide an important source of professional development to those working with seniors and to act as a catalyst for new research. Today's conference represents the 21st held in the series, which began in 1989 with the first Friesen Conference serving small-town seniors better, issues and innovation in housing, support services, and transportation. This year's conference is addressing the topic of innovations in home care, and the program includes some excellent speakers from the university, government, and business sectors. We hear a lot about the cost implications of population aging for the health services, but I believe the real challenge is to develop innovatory approaches to enhance the independence and quality of life of those older people who rely on some kind of help in their daily lives. The 30th anniversary of the GRC is something that deserves celebrating. Founding Director Gloria Gutman and previous Director Andrew Wister are on hand to talk about the GRC's many achievements. All of us at the GRC look forward to another 30 years as one of the world's major research centers on aging. So again, I'm sorry not to be with you today. I'm sure you've all enjoyed an inspiring and informative first day at the Friesen Conference, and that you will enjoy this evening's celebration, public lecture, and tomorrow's conference just as much.
This center began with a dream that I had of being able to have some training available to people who were going to be working with seniors. And the person that made it possible for us to begin was Jack Blaney, who at the time was the head of continuing studies. And Jack was actually a protege of John Friesen. So there was a very strong link there, and it's Jack who actually introduced me to John during the time that we were thinking about having this series. So the Gerontology Research Center began in 1982. We opened our doors in July 1st, 1982, and right from the beginning, the idea was to be engaged. And we were very much involved with the community. In fact, in the beginning, the concerns of some of the academics were that we were too much in the community. And I never had a formal community advisory committee. I didn't need it because people knew they could just phone up and that we were talking all the time with the leaders in the field. Within the teaching program, we had a course called Gerontology 400, Seminar in Applied Gerontology. And what we did in that course was that one day of the 2 days a week that we met, we read the academic literature. The second day, people working in the community with seniors came and met with our students. So this program has been very much engaged in that kind of activity. And I'm delighted today that there are some people who are standing at the back who have come specifically to join us for this celebration and who have been friends of the center over the years. We certainly have worked with the Office of the Public Guardian and Trustee in the development of one of our 6 theme areas, which has to do with exploitation, prevention of exploitation and victimization of older people. When the center began, we got what at the time was quite a lot of money from the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, and in writing the proposal, one of the things I had to do was identify 3 areas that we would specialize in. So having come here, the first thing I did was scout around the campus to see who was already doing something. And in the Criminology Department, there was a fellow called Ezat Fatal, who was very interested in crime and victimization. So that became one theme area. Second of our first areas was changing demography and lifestyles, and that was because of the late Ellen G., who many of you know, and who was the head of the sociology department. She actually predated me in teaching a course on sociology of aging. So that's the history. And then the third of our original themes was aging in the built environment, because that was one of my specialty research areas. Very soon we added a fourth, which was health and aging, and much of that happened because of some people that we met en passant, in particular Irving Rootman, who sat behind me in a summer course I took to finish my degree, because I was a baby bride, and so came back to UBC to take a couple of courses and took some at the University of Alberta. Well, Irving subsequently went on to become the Director of Health Promotion in the federal government, and some of you will remember he was in the Federal Ministry of Health. And one day Irving phoned me up and he said, "We've got a gathering, a meeting that's a consultation of people doing health promotion, and I want you to come." And I said, "Well, I don't do health promotion." He said, "Yes, you do." And so I began to look at the kind of research that I had been doing and some of the directions that this center was moving into, and realized that, yes, we were very much front and center doing work in the health area, particularly if you define health like the World Health Association does, as being not just the absence of disease, but also wellness. And so much of the work that we do is in the area, in fact, of health promotion. So that was our fourth theme. Then we added culture and aging, because we realized that we were doing quite a bit of work with the multicultural community. And over the years, various people, Sharon Cohen, which many of you know as an expert in the area of ethnicity and aging, and who has worked with our multicultural community, started with us some years ago as a postdoc, and then went to Providence Health, and now she's back as part of our faculty. And the sixth area, and the newest area, is the one represented by Andrew Sixsmith, and that's technology and aging. And that was one of the areas that, as we developed our expertise in the built environment, realized that technology was part of that built environment and part of the development of the country and the way things were going. And so we needed to be on the cutting edge. And that was when Andrew joined us with the specific mandate to work for and develop that area. So interesting that we have two Andrews in gerontology, and we have an Andrew as president. There's 3 A's. I think that's pretty darn good. But it has been an interesting time. What we have prepared for you, what Ray Adams, our information officer, has put together a slideshow that shows over the 30 years a number of the books that we've published, of the research that we've done. This was the Friesen series. And John looks pretty cute there in his, right. And that's the first one. So this particular slideshow will review a few of the themes of the Friesen series, which began when John and I sat down and we talked about the need for continuing education, but the need for a series that would pick up on issues that are hot stuff, that are hot issues. And so each year, our Friesen conferences pick up on a different topic. So I mentioned the 6 theme areas. The Friesen conferences over the years have covered the 6 areas, as well as a few others. At one time, we had a person, some of you may remember Sandra Cusack, who was a specialist in educational gerontology. And so we did a conference having to do with older learners. We've done work in dementia for many years. There were several of the people that worked with me, and what you will see on some of the names are people who were students of ours who have gone on to work in the field. Andrew Wister will talk in a few minutes about the gerontology program that developed into the Department of Gerontology. We are the only university in the country that, in fact, has both a gerontology research center and an academic program that specialized in gerontology that is fully within a faculty. And so we attract students from all over the country and from offshore. Our students are grabbed before they can finish. And we have a number of them represented here today, some of whom are still students and some of whom are graduates. But this gives you a little bit of the flavor. That last one was one report having to do with adult daycare. Marcus Hollander and I were speaking this morning because both of us have been around the continuing care system in British Columbia since it started in 1978. And we've seen the integrated system. We've seen we were the only place in the country or the first place that had the one-stop shop, that had single entry model, that had integration. And that now has devolved into the health authorities, but it was a provincial system with various of the pieces. The rights and responsibilities, and you'll see several of the conferences that we've done over the years have been in the area of prevention of elder abuse. Charmaine Spencer, who is with us, she came a number of years ago, and that was one of the better grants that I got that enabled from the Justice Canada that enabled us to hire Charmaine and to build on that area of built environment. But as you see, here's the health promotion for older Canadians that Andrew Wister and I published. There was this one, a number of them in the area of housing that are in fact the classics on which much of the literature on housing for seniors in Canada has developed. And we've worked over the years very closely with CMHC. There are a couple of these here that Lillian Zimmerman was very much involved in. The Rethinking Retirement was one of them. And that's where we partnered with LNG. Okay. This is one, it was a research program that we did on younger adults in long-term care. Because, while seniors make up a large proportion of the adult care population, there still are some younger adults, some younger people with disabilities, but also middle-aged people that have some of the neurodegenerative diseases like MS and bad arthritis, various of those kinds of disorders that require long-term care. The fact book on aging is something that we began, we're now in, I think, the 5th edition. That began because I was getting frustrated by needing to have numbers on what was going on in British Columbia. And so we sat down one day and decided, well, we're going to get all the numbers and put them all in one place. And so you will notice at the registration desk that the latest edition is available for purchase. So if any of you want to know about statistics on British Columbia, that's a good document to find them in. Let's see what comes next. But this slideshow it reviews the Friesen Conference, and then it goes on and will provide some pictures of, and some of you will recognize yourselves having been here in the past at some of our conferences. But these do give you an idea of the variety of the research that we've been doing over the years. See, and you came in 97. 91. Okay, so why is that one?
I picked that one up because I needed some photographs.
Okay, well, that was one that Charmaine and Lillian worked on. The Overselling of Population Aging was ended up as a book that Ellen G. and I edited, and that has been cited and quoted very dramatically in many places. And that was Tong Louis, who gave us the lead donation for the Tong Louis, what we call the Living Laboratory, and which is over in the about a block from here in the BCIT building. This is another one having to do with Alzheimer's. We have, the Gerontology Center has been involved in international work for many years. And this was a small conference that we did, but as you, when you, in a few minutes, go and have your glass of wine, and you look around at the exhibits, you'll see there is one for the International Association of Gerontology and Geriatrics. And we actually hosted the World Congress in 2001. Over 4,000 people came, and we broke all kinds of attendance records at that point. We have been involved. We were the host for the International Society on Gerontechnologies Conference. We are the current host of the Secretariat of the International Network for Prevention of Elder Abuse. And so we do lots of, or have many international connections. This was caregiving, so you see we have a history in looking at and doing research in the area of caregiving, both home care and continuing care in facilities. That was one of our first conferences that was picking up on the technology theme. Assisted living is one that we hear a lot about these days. This work was done sometime before it became currently popular. Yeah, that's when I had the chain of office for the IAG World Conference. that's one of the things. It's sort of in this business, it's a little weird to become your own subject. That person beside me is Satya Brink, who is one of our adjunct professors, and she has worked. She's a policy analyst who works for the federal government. This was one of our conferences having to do with baby boomers. Andrew has published a book having to do with baby boomers. That's the King of Spain. So I was introduced to the King and Queen of Spain during the Second World Assembly on Aging. And the mental fitness for life was a concept that Sandra Cusack began researching many years ago, well before it became the current popular theme. And this was Robert Butler, who was the first director of the U.S. National Institute on Aging and a world figure, who gave the first Ellen G. Memorial Lecture. And we did have Roy Romano, and we did have a conference dealing with the Romano Report. And that's your mom there. Some of you may know Susan McDaniel. She's a senior scholar in the area of policy and aging, very well recognized in Canada and a good friend of our center. We have done some work on end of life, and it was interesting to me this morning to hear the statistics about the fact that only about 3 or 4% of people who die in the way that many of us do not want to die, and where they require very heavy levels of care. And that 10% of people just suddenly drop dead, and the rest go within I think it was 1 to 3 days, but they've been living at home in the community. I mean, that was sort of a good news scenario that for most people, in fact, we will see that they will be dying at home. This is Barbara. Barbara's here. Ann Martin Matthews is here. And active aging is very much the theme these days. In fact, in Europe, this year is called the Year of Active Aging. We used that term some time ago. You heard Nina Chappell this morning. Nina has been a close friend of the center for many years. Okay, as some of you may know, Andrew Sixsmith is a triathlete. And so that's not him, but we definitely do active aging within our program.
I actually have a photo of him on his bike. It was going to go in there, but you didn't give me enough time to continue to finish the book.
Well, and that's a book that Charmaine Spencer and I put together and published recently, 2010. This is our good friend Leroy Stone, who for many years was with Statistics Canada, and where we had an edge in being able to get some data from Statistics Canada. And last year, our conference was focused on the juxtaposition and of the two major trends of climate change and of population aging. And that brings us up to today. Thank you, Ray, for putting that together. Now, I'd like to call on Andrew Wister.
Terrific slideshow, Ray. Thank you very much. I know everybody's waiting to have some refreshments and call the day a day. We do have the public lecture tonight. I'm sorry? Yes, yes. And we have also, before we have refreshments, we have a presentation that Charmaine Spencer is going to make. But before I get there, I thought I'd say a few things. Gloria might be short in stature, but following her is a tall order. I came in 1991, and this was basically Gloria's show, and there was a few supporting cast, but with respect to faculty, it was just Gloria and I. And I think the success of the development of a department here at SFU, and in turn the success of the Gerontology Research Center, has been the fact that they both work together in a symbiotic and synergetic ways. And so I'd like to just say a few things about the development of the department and the faculty here. I came in 91, as I said, and I spoke with Gloria, and we agreed. First thing we have to do is get a graduate program. And there was already a post-baccalaureate diploma in place, so we felt the next step was this graduate program. So I worked and spearheaded a proposal to develop a master's in gerontology, and that started in 1996. We opened the doors. We put out over 85 master's students. Following that, we decided that it's very important to have a minor in gerontology, so that was developed. In 2004, we gained departmental status, and just about 3 years ago, we initiated a PhD in gerontology, and this is only one of 3 PhDs in gerontology in Canada. One is in French only, and another is gerontology and health sciences at Waterloo. There's also a handful in the United States as well, but we're certainly considered one of the top in North America and the world. But this didn't happen just because of Gloria and I, of course. There's a number of faculty here, and I'm going to point some names, point some people out and mention some names. The first faculty member actually who was hired was after me was Yves Carrier. I believe it was Yves, and he left us. And then we hired Habib Chaudhry, who you saw some of his research and a great picture of Habib, and Norma O'Rourke, virtually the same year, I think 6 months apart. Following them, Barb Mitchell came, and her home department is sociology, but she is a very major cog in gerontology as a joint faculty member. After Barbara, we had Atia Mahmood join us, and Sharon Cohen more recently. We also have a number of instructors that have taught for the program throughout the years. Too many to mention, but I will, if there's a few here. Barry Worsfold teaches a lot for us. Irv Rootman was already mentioned previously, and a number of others who I will not go through to use up too much of my limited time. There's also a number of people affiliated with the Gerontology Research Center throughout the years, postdocs and researchers and residents, a large number. I know Ryan is here. I'm not sure if there's any others. Sandra Cusack was mentioned. Charmaine Spencer is mentioned, is going to be coming up here in just a minute. I won't go through the whole list, but you saw a number of them that were affiliated with the various publications that were on the slideshow. As well, we have had a wonderful supportive staff that have been affiliated with the Gerontology Research Center over the years. We don't have a listing or time to go through every single one of them, but currently Ray Adams, as you know, is our information officer and has provided great support. Melinda Aitken was giving out people's name tags earlier, and she's at the back. We have Anne-Marie Ambert, who's the manager and supports both the department and the Gerontology Research Center. Roz McEwen is our graduate secretary, and we've had a host of people, including students and so forth, who have supported the Gerontology Research Center. I want to give special mention to Lillian Zimmerman, who was on the program today and has supported the Gerontology Research Center for years and years, and is expected to support us for many more. I probably have left out one or two people, and I'm rushing a bit because I know we're very limited in time. But right now what I'd like to do is the last step in today's activities before refreshments, and then, of course, the public lecture at 7. I would like to call upon Charmaine Spencer, and we're going to have she, as a research associate and immediate past co-chair of the Canadian Network for Prevention of Elder Abuse, I believe, get an award. So Charmaine, do you want to come up here and you're going to distribute some awards? Is that correct? Yes. Okay, you shouldn't have been so far there away. Now you've got to come all the way to the front. And while Charmaine's coming up here, I just want to thank Gloria for all of us for creating the Gerontology Research Center, for being the first director of the center and director of the programs, indeed, for hiring me, and then there was this reproduction of all these faculty and other people, and together we have this wonderful gerontology community with wonderful students as well. So thank you very much, Gloria. Charmaine Spencer.
Long day. It is with a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to give out the 2012 Elder Abuse Awareness to Action Awards. One of the things that the Gerontology Research Center and the Research Department has done over the years is really celebrated the excellence in efforts at a community level that have been occurring, both in terms of seniors leadership and in terms of grassroots work across the province. In 2006, in recognition and actually in celebration of the first World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, the Simon Fraser University's the Gerontology Research Center developed or created the Awareness to Action Award, basically again to serve to celebrate the really wonderful work being done in different parts of the province around abuse and neglect awareness. We have the different kinds of categories within this. One is in terms of individual efforts. There's organizational kinds of efforts. And then there's also in terms of either governmental, corporate efforts, and media efforts. This year, we were again delighted by the response that we had, and just sort of the heartfelt responses from people in terms of people that they considered really, really worthy of receiving these particular awards. And we have the, now I don't know if all four people are here today, but just to let you know who they are and just a little bit about them. One is, and in no particular order, is Amanda Brown from Vancouver Coastal Health. The second one is Leanne Lang, again from Vancouver Coastal Health. Second is the BC Centre for Elder Advocacy and Support, and the fourth is Margaret Easton. What I'll do is sort of one by one give you a little bit of information about them, and you can gauge just and see how much they have contributed to this really important issue within British Columbia.
Could we have those four people come forward? All the way up here to the stage.
The first person who's on the list is Margaret Easton, who has been working around the financial issues and financial abuse issues actually for quite an extended period of time. She has over 30 years of experience in financial services industry, in both in banks, trust companies, and credit unions in Alberta and British Columbia. She subsequently took that experience, that lifelong experience, and started applying it and using it in terms of really helping to educate service providers about the issues in terms of financial abuse. In 2008, for example, she was really a pivotal part of a federal, provincial, territorial forum specifically talking about financial abuse issues, and extremely well received, worked within that. She also works and has a passion around mediation and issues in this area, really understanding sort of both the complexities within the context of families and relationships, issues that are really fundamental for responding in a non-ageist and a supportive kind of way around both preventing and addressing financial abuse. So the first award for today will be to Margaret Easton. Please, thank you. The second award is going to an organization. It's an organization that I've certainly known for a very, very long time. I've actually worked on projects with them from time to time, and they have a long history working both on the prevention and the support and assistance side, and that is BCCs, BC Centre for Elder Advocacy and Support. BCCs has really grown over the years, keeping both its grassroots kind of approach, but also expanding into new areas. Some of the things that BCCs currently does is it has a seniors information line, which I think in 2011 had over 2,000 calls from both the seniors and others seeking assistance around abuse issues, but also other kinds of advocacy issues as well. The other thing that has been really quite remarkable is the development of the Elder Law Clinic with BCCs. It's a phenomenal development. It was started as a germ of an idea at a community level, was nurtured through its first beginning steps by Joan Braun, and now under the wonderful leadership of Jane Lewis. I would like to again to thank and BCCs for the decades of work that they've done in this area and their future work as well. Thank you. Now the next two are almost like a tag team. And this is Amanda Brown and Leanne Lang. You know that when you're getting multiple responses from people in terms of the nominations, that you definitely have really great winners. And that applies to all four of the winners for this year. But the work that Amanda and Leanne have done it has reverberated throughout the province. Basically, I mean, among many other things, back in 2005, under, I don't have absolutely no idea how it actually happened, but somehow somebody convinced Vancouver Coastal Health Authority that it was a good idea to help their staff better understand and recognize and respond to different kinds of abuse and neglect. Vancouver Coastal Health, through Amanda and Leanne, basically created the REACT manual and have been providing wonderful training for service providers, for health service providers, so that they are better trained and in better position to be able to respond in a very supportive kind of way. And I think one of the things that what has happened over the course of the years is we recognize that not only the need for the sort of the essential, the basics of education for healthcare providers, but also that more sophisticated, detailed kinds of level of understanding and a more diverse kind of understanding. So the second part of the work that both Amanda and Leanne have been involved with is in terms of the development of a very special REACT kind of information and education and training specifically for First Nations. It started locally and has expanded throughout the province. Wonderful from a community development perspective, wonderful from in terms of dissemination of information, wonderful in terms of sharing of ideas. These women, in addition to the to our other winners for this year, really demonstrate so clearly the passion, the caring, and the respectful support for older adults who are experiencing mistreatment. I'd like to thank, the last two awards are for Amanda Brown and Leanne Lang. Amanda's not here. Yeah. I can take Amanda's. Wonderful. There we go. Thank you very much to everybody here.